Hi, Paul here from Anywhere Festivals. If you're watching this, this is because the Google Meet didn't actually record as it was meant to. Had a great little session earlier today. This is Saturday, the 14th of December, 2024. Unfortunately, it didn't record any of it. So what I wanted to try and do is capture as much of that in this piece to camera. Now, what we've done, if you log into training.anywhere.is, go to discussions and look up workshop 2, locations and venues, you'll see a link to the presentation. So pause this video for a moment and go and grab that so you've got it in front of you, because I'll refer to pages of that. Brilliant. Okay, so what we're going to do with this session, there's a certain amount of check-in that I want to do about locations and venues, how it works, Anywhere partners, how to approach venues, who approaches them, you, us, timeline, some inspiration and questions. Now, the inspiration, you might as well go and have a look at now in the presentation. You'll see there are a number of different images of shows there. Go in and have a look at them, and I'll refer back to them a bit later. All right, so firstly, just the check-in stuff. Just want to make sure that you're actually able to get into the training and resources workshop, that you've got all the people that you need, have access to it. If they don't, send an email to support@anywhere.is. If you've got any questions as you're watching this video, also just make sure you just add it to the discussion group, and we'll also add other things that have come up through questions that possibly people have emailed over to us. All right, first thing we covered was the date. So have a look at, it's the 5th slide. It's got all the dates in there. We've also got that in as a specific thread in the discussions, so you can just go straight into that as well. And the advantage with that one is that it will get updated live. So if there are any changes, you'll see them there, and we'll also be able to mention that those changes have occurred. The one thing that did come up as a question whilst doing the Google Meet meeting was about the period between the 15th of December and the 12th of January, where it said that the office is closed. We've just updated that, so you'll still be able to send emails to support@anywhere.is. It was meant to actually say that it's just me that is away over that period. And this is the whole intention of getting all this out there now, so that you were able to start your prep, start looking around, and then we can all hit the ground running in mid-January. All right, so slides 6 and 7, we talked about just really briefly, just confirming this whole thing about why doing traditional space, non-traditional spaces, and there were a range of things that I wanted to cover, but the most important bit was that we said, well, I could talk about this, or you could just go and have a look at section 1.6 of the video and hear me do it in a more professional setting, or read the document, which is also 1.6. And that's what I'd really recommend you do instead of me just repeating it all here. So pause it here and go to section 1.6, just have a quick scan through all of that, and also give you a certain amount of prep for the things we're about to talk about. Now, in the presentation after this, from slides 8, 9, 10, and 11, there are a few shows. So the first two are from shows in the paint factory. One is a picture that was taken before the show happened, as they were setting up, and just gave you an idea of one of the ways an Anywhere Festival show works. I mean, in many ways it looks quite traditional. You can see, a range of fairy lights leading people up to a number of seats, and there's a performance space beyond it, but it's all in a warehouse. And that's the paint factory for those that haven't been there. Another one that's at the paint factory is a great example of shows of how to do things when you just want to do it in a backyard or a park. This was actually the show Eat Her Out, and they were connected into a PowerPoint that we had with some basic lighting. You can see there, they've set up some curtains that they've also acted behind for this particular shot, and there is about 50 people sitting on chairs. The third shot is from a wonderful team that done many shows with us, Glitter Martini, and it's a this particular show was with, I think, Hiker Brewing, and they set up a piece where you can see there's a little bit of infrastructure in there, but everybody is sitting around tables within the bar. And then finally, this is a gig that was within a house. So 35 seats, I think, was the capacity for it. So very intimate. It's all about clearing out the lounge room and then putting things back again. Okay, so going on to the 12th slide, called arrangements. So this is just touching on the types of venues, or types of arrangements with venues, I should say. And we're talking about, so rent-free, and that's really what we're trying to go with. So we have people that we work with, and as long as you can work within their constraints, they're happy to provide the space rent-free. And that might be someone's backyard or lounge room, might be, cafe, it might be whatever it is. And it's rent-free for a reason. As long as you're working within the constraints that they have, then absolutely fine. Partial costs. This is when I might say, well, look, we just need to charge like a little bit. It might be like $50 or $100. Charged for extras. This is something you just need to be really careful about. We found is there have been people that have done things with spaces they found, and they said, yeah, we'll provide the space rent-free. And then the act goes, oh yeah, but we need this, we need a lighting desk, we need a sound desk, and we need all this kind of stuff that they possibly actually didn't need. And all that ends up being added on and ends up not really making it financially sustainable. This box office percentage, we find not many people really try to do that, and when some venues have tried it, they tended to be more traditional performance spaces, which are ones we're not working with this time. There are spaces that we've sourced in the past, ones that we've got agreements with, ones that we've spoken to or that have come to us that you may do most of the chatting with and develop a relationship. And then there's ones at BYO. BYO is just anything you find yourself. Now, one of the questions that came up in Google Meet was, okay, what do you do if you find a space? The short thing is, and so, yeah, do you approach them? Do we approach them? We're really, really happy to approach any new space, or even ones that are already on the system that you've gone, they're ones that we would introduce you to first. But for any new space, just email support@anywhere.is, say, hey, this is me, this is our show, we're really thinking about this space, would like to approach them. Now, if it's something where I'm going to skip a slide here and we're going to go back, I'm going to slide 14, it's called resources. So if it's something where you do actually want to go to places yourself, we've got a few things there that hopefully make it easy. Right. One is there's a little 4-page glossy guide that you can give to hosts that says, hey, this is what Anywhere Festival is, this is why it's so amazing, these are the benefits for you as either a business or a residential home, and these are some of the basics about how it works, just so they know how simple or not it is. Right, there's that. There's also a template email that you can then send to people. Now, big tip here, a lot of people will look at it and then traditionally they've looked through our venue list and gone, okay, right, I'm just going to send emails to all these people. That is not the way to do it. The best way to do it is, if you are at all possible, is to go in and speak personally to a space, whether it's a person's house or a business. It's all about having a personal relationship. Even if it's something that we start for you, it will be very important that you have a relationship with them. As an example of one where that didn't happen, in the most recent Anywhere Festival, there's a space that came to us, they wanted to volunteer their space. We put them in contact with an act. It seemed to be all fine, it was all locked in, and then the day before the performance, the act comes to us saying, have you got the address for the venue? And we found out that they had not contacted them since actually locking in, the venue. And not surprisingly, that event did end up happening. Right, going back to anywhere venues. So you might be going, right, what venues are there? So first thing I'll say, particularly for people that have done Anywhere Festival in the past, not last year or 2024, but previous years. In previous years, what we've done is we've always put up a list of venues, and there've been people that have come to us, people that we've gone to, and then also other ones that we've gone, oh look, we think they're a friendly, go to them. Problem we found with that is that particularly the people that actually came to us saying, hey, look, we want to be part of the festival as a venue, most of them ended up not finding a show that was the right fit. And after that happens 2 or 3 times, the venues kind of get a little jack of it. So what we thought this year is that we'd swap it around. And that's why we've gone out to you first. And as part of the process so far, we've said, right, what are the types of venue or specific venue you're looking for? So that then we can sit there and go, right, well, look, these are the ones we already know about that fit that, and these are the ones that don't, and we're going to go and look for them. So there's that bit. But what are the Anywhere venues? So let's start with Brisbane City Council. Brisbane City Council is our second biggest sponsor. They want us to activate spaces. They want things to happen in their public spaces. So head to, just Google Brisbane City Council park requests, park bookings, and you'll find a whole list of all the different parks and spaces that they have. When you've had a look at that and gone, ooh, that could be interesting, email us. If you're someone that isn't based in Brisbane, we're really, really happy to go and take pictures, extra video, and do that extra legwork for you. So do that as well. Support@anywhere.is or within the group and just tag support anywhere. So Brisbane City Council, we've got Communify. For those who don't know about Communify, they do a whole range of, not surprising, community-based activities, but one of the thing that really connects with us is that they manage a whole range of spaces. So it's a Communify, basically community with an F instead of a T. Go in there and look at the venue search, and you'll see everything from places like the Wollongabba substation, which is a space that has been used by a number of different Anywhere acts, through to more traditional halls, meeting rooms, and also great rehearsal spaces. We have an arrangement with them so that they do have a cost, but the cost, if you book through us, is very negligible. We're talking like $20 to $30 a day. Okay. Paint Factory, you might have seen that we've used that as a hub. As in the past 2 years, it's been a final weekend hub. We've had between 10 to 15 different productions in there. A lot of Anywhere Award winners have been in there. It's a huge, rambling series of spaces, from warehouses to, roads to, old sets from, Boy Swallows Universe to music videos to everything. So that's one where we book that. It does have a small cost with it, but in the last year what we did is we also provided the bulk of the technical gear, and we have 3 lighting desks, 4 different sound systems. I'm looking around, but you can't see, but I'm looking at about 60 to 70 different lights, and cabling and all that kind of stuff that will be provided for acts that are there. And it works out to be about $100 to $200 for shows that are doing a whole range of things over those 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Great thing is you also get a really flexible with getting in there for teching, for rehearsing, for checking it out, all that kind of stuff. Okay, got that. The Raven is coming back, which is the venue from this year. Brilliant basement bar. It's rent-free. They are part of the curation process, so they will choose who they would like down there. And it's really well for, it's used for jazz, sit-down comedy. We used it for impro. It's a great contained space that is not affected by the weather. Aria Properties, we're doing something at Fish Lane on the opening night, and that's the 17th, so that's the night before all the shows start. We'll be activating a large amount of the laneway. Aria are also committing to being able to spend a certain amount for acts that are actually doing things on that night as well. We've also got a whole range of previous locations. what are the other things I'd like to look at? What I'm do is, at this point, is a few questions came to me. So one was about locations around Brisbane. And it said, do they have to be central? No, they could be anywhere in Brisbane. And they can also be outside the boundary. But the festival is Brisbane Anywhere Festival, but every year we have, for want of a better word, showcase or feature, where there'll be, say, 1 or 2 shows in Ipswich or on the Gold Coast or just outside the boundary to the north, possibly in Moreton Bay, even though there is obviously Moreton Bay Anywhere Festival in May earlier on. So that's one question. Looking at the inspiration, you'll see this starts at slide 20. So this is, I suppose, a certain amount of inspiration, but to show you how spaces are being used. Because what we tend to find, people who haven't done Anywhere Festival before, sometimes there's a tendency to just convert the space into effectively a theatre. So what we want you to do is really think about your show and therefore what is the best kind of space for it. So slide 20 is a show called Colossi by a performance poet called Scott Wings, and this is done on a bridge in Highgate Hill. So something where I think it was a limit of 15 to 17 people sitting on the bridge. It was a one-person show, intimate storytelling, poetry. There's a bit of fairy lights, signage, making sure it's accessible, that kind of thing. Then if you could look at 21, this is kind of nearly the extreme in the other way. So going back about 10 years and Anywhere, the show was called Mother Country by Heartbeats Productions, I think, and it was in a space at the State Library of Queensland. And it's a space that's normally open, and it's actually the space that's just above where the cafe is. And they set it up, and you can see there's a lot of rigging and lights and things like that. There was also another show that didn't use any of those, and was using a whole bunch of different desk lamps and things like that, and was setting it up more as an immersive space. 22, you can see a place that's just inside a house. 23, a karaoke bar. This is Ma 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 Mad by Merlin Tong. Had 15 people in there. Had an arrangement with the karaoke bar, and just ran this show. 24, comedy gig inside a house. And I put this here purely because you can see how simple the lighting is. And this is really important because in Anywhere shows, because you're only talking about 10, 20, 50 people, the need to have to really isolate the performers is made so much simpler because the audience is so much closer to them as well. So sometimes it can just be done with, you can see there's a speaker in the background and a desk lamp that's attached to the roof, and there's probably one on the other side of the performer, but looking at the shading, possibly not. And that was their tech. So just think about how much you're able to then just focus on the performance and not have to worry about all the tech element. I'm not saying that every show is going to fit for that. We've had big techie shows out in the docks and things like that, and that completely makes sense for those shows. But this is one of the beauties of it, and it enables you to just put things in front of the audience and not have to worry so much about, okay, how are we going to isolate it all? 25, well, look, this is at, the Aeronautical Museum in Sunshine Coast, and they had an arrangement. This is an example of one where they really wanted to use this space. That space said, look, you are going to have to hire it. There's no other way around it. But they set up something where the audience capacity, I think, was close to 100 to 150. And it was effectively a big budget musical, but with an aeroplane in the background. I've been putting this one, number 26, as an example because a few people have asked about it. This is the Spring Hill Reservoirs. Brilliant space. We've used it many years in the past. Last couple of years, so they've been doing heritage works on it, so it hasn't been available. We're hoping in the new year we'll have an answer on that and whether it's something where we'll be able to use it. Next picture with all the confetti, this is number 27, slide 27, is probably not the best picture, but I'm putting it there as a mental, to jog my mind. And this was in a photographic studio, and what you can't see is behind the camera, it's all just white background. And we found that actually photographic studios actually works really well as a relationship, because they tend to be doing photography during the day, and the space is available in the evening. 28 is another picture from the paint factory, just showing you how using the levels and spaces that are there can do something. Then you've got on number 29, this is one where it is a space that was at the University of Queensland, and it's the Senate room, and it's basically huge 20-seat board room in the middle, surrounded by another 40, actually no more than that, I think it was like 60 or so chairs that went all the way around it. And you can see all the paintings of the vice chancellors of years past in the background. And finally, just 30 as just showing you it's just something set up within in the structure of a house that is out the back of where the house actually is, and how it was just done so simply. You can see that they've set up a few lights and just rigged them up to the top, and there are potentially even other ways of being able to do that, more simple ways. Okay, so that's it. I hope that gives you a bit of a taste of what the Google Meets meeting was. As Miranda pointed out, I needed an admin for this session, and it had just been bucketing down rain here, and my admin person was stuck in the rain, but we decided to kick on regardless. But that did mean that I missed a couple of tech things, including actually recording the video. But I hope this gives a bit of a sense of it all. Just leave your comments below, questions, just tag support, or drop an email to support@anywhere.is. If you're fine for it to be public, definitely just put it in the discussion thread here, because if you're asking the question, it's very likely that someone else has got the question. But if it's something that is personal, private, or you don't want other people to know about it, just email us direct. Okay, I hope that has given you a taste of it all. Thank you for watching, and we'll look forward to working with you more, well, really, after the new year.